Hi, I'm your tutor for EA Touch Plus, and this is what we're gonna create today. Alright, that looks pretty sweet. Let's create a new composition and do just anti-CDV, and I'm gonna do square pixels and whatever time you like. And alright, we're rolling. Let's import the world map, and you can get this for free. Look at the description of this tutorial. And I enchanted by hand with Illustrator. Alright, and let's just drag it in the new composition. And let's write up add ramp. Alright then. And we're gonna actually set the resolution to have here, and I want to set the ramp thingy to a radio ramp, and there we go. The middle point to something like this brown color, and the outside color a little bit darker. Alright, something like that. And that's alright. Alright then, let's go ahead, and this is a picture I took. Very crappy, you can see my finger here for the lens. Alright, let's import this. And maybe rotate it. Place it correctly. And we're gonna use it as a Luma mat. So we're gonna do a Luma mat, and we're gonna add something like curves or levels. I'm gonna use curves here to make this a little bit more opaque. Something like that. Alright, looking good. Let's go ahead and place this comp into the final composition. Alright then, and it's a little bit big, so we're gonna scale it down. Alright, head to 3D layer, and let's rotate this. Hold down shift, tilt this flat, and let's set the resolution to have here, and we're gonna create a layer new camera. To the 50 millimeter, since that is the same as the basic After Effects without a camera, and we can rotate this. Actually, we can orient it, and it looks great. Let's create a new solid and call it background, and make comp size, and okay, doesn't matter what color, and drag it to the last of the index there, and let's add a ramp. Pretty simple here. Let's just guess some colors and see how it looks. Right then. You can change this later up if it doesn't mess with the other elements you add. But for now, I think something like this will do. Alright. Well, let's move on. Let's create a new no object. And this is gonna be our arrow. Let's see here, what's the word? Ruler. This is gonna rule the motion path, basically, of the arrow. So let's just move the camera here so we can see what we're doing here. And let's move this to the correct position. And to set some keyframes for the position. Change it here to the other country, the other place on Earth where we want to travel to. Alright, and we want this into a bow, so we're going gonna go in the center of those two keyframes and drag it up in the Y space. Right then. Change the motion path there a little bit. Alright, that's pretty cool. Want to make sure that this is the same speed, so we're gonna click and you can see it here, but it's rove across time, and then you have the same speed. Actually, I can show it to you here, right, there you go. Right click and rove across time. That will make it go the same speed over time. Alright then, that looks pretty cool. Well, not really, but you know. Let's go on and make a new composition. And this is gonna be our arrow head. Alright then, let's make this a kind of small size, something like 150. And okay. And let's actually flip this. Or flop, I don't know. Actually rotate this, kind of. Change the X and Y. Switch X and Y, that's it. And let's create a layer new solid. And call it arrow and make it comp size. Arrow segments, actually, that's a little bit better. And okay, let's create a mask, just the 4-point mask, and just draw it right there. Just like that. And create a point in the center of the above 2 points. And right below the 2 points that were already there, whoops, we're going to create a mask point 2. And then grab the middle point that we just created and drag it up. And then those mask points that were already there, just drag that to the side and drag in the ground texture again. Scale it down. Maybe rotate it and again a Luma matte. And we're gonna again add curves. So just a little bit better. Looks a little bit better right there. Alright. We're gonna create a fill to make a kind of better color. Maybe something like dark red should be fine. And we're gonna roughen the edges with roughen edges, of course. And we're gonna just play with the settings till you got something you like, but you wanna make sure still the shape of the arrow is still visible. That's kind of important there. So that's just fine. Alright then. Let's create a new folder, keep your work organized, and we're gonna call it arrow segments. And just drag the arrow head in there and duplicate it. And we're gonna call the second one the arrow segment 1. That is. And you can make more, but I'm just gonna create 1 for the sake of time. And create a new mask, just a simple mask. And drag it up in the center. Alright. Let's position and rotate the grunge layer so that it looks a little bit different. And now we're going to import the arrow head first. Alright, we want to make this follow the arrow ruler, of course. So make it first. So we're going to make it first 3D, of course. And now we want to make it follow the arrow ruler motion path. Right here, the motion path. How we're going to do that? With a cool expression. pop up, hit P for the position there, and let's first link this with the pick whip, and then at the point value at time, and that's gonna look at the time, look at the value at the time, so just the current point in time minus 1 second. So a second later it will start doing the animation of the layer that we just linked to. So now this is starting, and 1 second later this arrow will start do the same motion, the same animation as the arrow ruler. So that's pretty sweet, right? And so we're gonna make this a little bit 0.2 seconds, so a little bit earlier in time. And now 0.2 seconds later, the animation will start. And let's scale this down. Hit S to scale and scale it down. And we want to change to the motion path. So let's do auto orient and orient along path and hit OK. And now this will orient along the path, although it doesn't look quite right. We had to rotate this, so let's hit R for rotate, and let's see, the X rotation is the one we have to set at -90 in this case, and that will work just fine. So that looks good. Let's change the expression. Now we have to link it to the above layer all the time, and we don't want that, so we're going to change the expression to index -1. And what it will do is the index is basically this number, and it will do it -1, which will make 3, 2. So it will follow the second layer instead of the arrow ruler. And let's change the time here to -5. And that will make this follow the first part a little bit faster. Let's make sure that's the arrow segment. And let's keep changing the value of the time value at time till we get something we like. And oh, actually it's too far. Just rotate the camera to see when you're too far and what looks good in all angles. Alright, something like that. I think the motion path isn't quite good. That's why it looks a little bit crappy. I might want to change this though. No, it really is the motion path here. Let's change that back. Something like this. Alright, and I think now we're having this trouble with this. It's flat at the beginning, so we have to maybe make the opacity have the same expression, but only for the opacity. So let's hit T for the opacity. T there, alright, and let's keyframe the opacity on and off. Right here. Let's set the opacity and to here to 100. From 0 to 100, let's set this to 0. And now it is going to fade in time. So let's copy that expression and paste it for the opacity. And we want to change the position to opacity. So to follow the opacity instead of the position. And that's exactly what we want right here. Is if this is a little bit confusing, you can type in this expression in Google and you will get like 20 tutorials on this expression. So, alright, now we can duplicate this segment. And it looks a little bit suckish because of the motion path. And I think we're gonna change it right now. And we're gonna do that. So, let's take the arrow tool, or I don't know, the normal pointer, and let's try to make this look a little bit better. I think something like this. Adjust the handles here. Right, that looks better, I think. Yeah, still a little bit. Alright, that I think looks better. And I think the head arrow is a little bit too long, that's why this is causing problems, I think. You probably end up with a better arrow, but you know, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not gonna change all that stuff. We're gonna go with this, and it looks pretty good actually. It looks fine. So let's select all this stuff and let's go layer pre-compose. And we're gonna move our attributes and call this arrow. And 1 if you want to create more. And okay. Now we are gonna set this little light bulb there. So it is actually 3D, which is pretty cool. And then why we are doing this is because at the end the animation will screw up and it doesn't look very nice. We want it to stop right at this point. And because it is a pre-comp, we can now do enable time remapping. So we can stop the animation by adding a keyframe, then zooming out here and going to the last keyframe and deleting it. So now that's the last frame and the rest will stop. And it's still 3D. And that's just pretty cool. We also could do it with expression, I think, but it's just way more easy to do. Alright, let's create a new solid, and this is for the destination point. And we're not want to make it that big, something like this, and we're gonna call this arrive point or something. Alright, let's make the 3D and flip it in the x-axis. Hold down shift there, and we are going to go to the top view right here so we can see it a little bit better. Let's move here, take the track tool, and let's zoom in here with this tool, and let's set the point at the correct position. So that's where the like wave comes out. Let's apply the circle effect. Yeah. Let's set the edge to edge thickness, and let's set the thickness to something like this, so you have a wave-like form. The inside feather is quite important here. This gives this a little bit cool look, and maybe the thickness, change the thickness here. Something like that maybe. Just experiment with this and you will get there, you know, you will get there. Alright. Keep playing with this. Set the color to black. And the blending mode to something like hard mix, so maybe linear burn. Let's see here. I want to have a classic color burn. That's one. And then set the opacity a little bit down so that looks just a little bit nicer. So it blends nicely with the background, with the earth. Alright, let's search for the point that the arrow hits the earth. Yeah, there, and that's one where we want the arrow to start growing. Let's keyframe the radius, and a little bit further, let's let this grow. Yes, and then we want to keyframe the at U for the keyframes, and then let's set it to 0 actually, and then we can go to like this point and start to fading out the opacity. And right here, set the opacity to 0, so it fades out. Looking nice. And let's scale this down. Actually, we don't want this that big. Alright then. That's it, basically. And we have plenty of time left. So, let's create a second arrow, maybe. Show you how I did that. And maybe we can shift this point so it starts growing a little bit earlier, like this kind of a sand wave from the arrow. That is pretty cool. Let's duplicate it and call this 2 maybe. And we now can just make this a 3D layer and literally just rotate this, and the segment and the arrow will rotate with this. So you can just reposition this and it will automatically go super well. And we have to, of course, retime this. So just drag over the second arrow. And let's see, that's pretty good. Let's go to the second arrow there. Let's move the camera so we can see. And let's duplicate the arrive point. Arrive point 2 at 1, 2, 3. 3. And let's move this. I just realized I know the number 3 in 4 different languages. Isn't it funny? Alright, and let's move this to the correct position, to the correct point in time. And let's see how this works out. Alright, looking great. Let's go ahead and let's see here. Let's reset the camera. We're gonna create some camera movement. Let's create a layer, new object. This is gonna be the camera controller, of course. And let's make this 3D and parent the camera to the cam controller, so we can move this. And you probably know this technique already. This very well known technique. And remove this. Just reposition this to a one point in time, like where the arrow starts, or just be creative, Sometimes it's kind of hard to do this, and there's actually a Video Copilot that has a great preset for that called, let's see here, I think it's called, well, I don't know what it's called, but just search that on Video Copilot and it will really help your camera movement to make that easier. So, and just do it, Alright, I'm gonna create the second position of our camera here. Let's move this. rotate this correctly. So there we go. We have our little camera movements, looking pretty good actually. Surprisingly. All right. You know, that's basically it. Now you can add some sound effects, stuff like that. And my name is Joris Schutter for EA Touch Plus, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.